Paul gives us an answer to that question in Romans chapter 1. And the answer that Paul gives in Romans chapter 1 is that all of us know deep inside that there is a God. There is a knowledge of that within us. It says in Romans chapter 1 that God has revealed himself through his creation. The creation itself testifies that there is a God. The problem isn't that we don't know or can't know or need to see. The problem is that we deny what we do know. That's really the problem, is that we, by our very nature, deny what we know deep inside to be truth. The kind of technical term for that is the noetic effect of the fall. That when Adam and Eve sinned, that affected not only them, but also their children and their children's children. And not only did it affect us in the sense that we choose sin, but it affected the very way our minds work. The noetic effect of the fall, or the effect of the fall on our minds, such that when we are confronted with the evidence, the truth of who God is, that our natural response is either to deny it or distort it. Those are our two natural responses, is that we deny or we distort, one or the other. That is to say, we either say, no, I can't believe it unless I see it, or we say that I accept that there's a God, but I distort it into something else. I distort this into something else, into false gods, into false worship. And so how do we know God? Well, the first level of the answer would be and must be that we know God through Jesus Christ. We know God through Jesus Christ. And in that, when we look particularly at the resurrection of Jesus Christ, what we see in that is that there are multiple independent testimonies that Jesus Christ was raised from the dead. There are the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that have an account of the resurrection. There is John's gospel that has a different account of the resurrection, but that agrees in crucial details. There's Paul's tradition that he tells us in 1 Corinthians 15. And if indeed Jesus was raised from the dead, then clearly he has access to the source of life that is outside our normal experience. And so we know God in and through Jesus Christ, but because even of the noetic effect of the fall that we talked about, even then, even that knowledge, we will either deny it or distort it and disregard it apart from and ultimately from Christ's work in us through his Spirit. And so the only way that we can truly have certainty of who God is through the Spirit's work in our life, that we see then what was there the entire time, but we did not see before because of the blindness, the death within our souls. So in terms of speaking to the skeptic about this, what we have to trust in and what we have to rely on is that we present the truth about Jesus, and we present it well, and the Holy Spirit enlightening their minds and heart to see it. And so we present evidence. We present evidence particularly centered in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And we run to that over and over, and we proclaim that to them and let them know that it is indeed through Jesus Christ, and particularly through his resurrection, that we know God is real, whether we see him or not. We know that through that. But we also trust that it's not our arguments and our evidence and our conviction or our capacity to convince. None of those are the thing that will ultimately help them to see the truth in that. What will ultimately help them to see the truth in that is the Holy Spirit opening their mind and heart so that they become aware of and admit and indeed bow at the feet of that which they previously denied.